Hey everyone, welcome back to your week ahead astrology breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver from Stillwater Alchemy, and this week we have a lot of changes coming. Good changes, in my opinion. We have Venus ingressing into Cancer, Mercury ingressing into Leo, and at the end of the week is the start of Leo season. So lots to be excited about, a lot of really positive aspects with the planets that are really helpful this week to start something new or to create something. So we're going to get into all of that. As a retrospective for last week, a lot of times I like to share how things manifest in my personal life, just as a way to help really put the astrology into focus and how it can manifest. So on Saturday, we had the moon in Pisces, and with that, it was squaring my natal Mercury in the 12th house. Moon in Pisces was in my 3rd house. And I got this email from Instagram. They're like, oh, we want to verify you to ensure you get the blue check mark. Just log in here. And it had like the Instagram logo and everything. But if you've ever tried to get verified on Instagram, they need a lot of professional publications. There's like this whole list of things. And oftentimes you get denied, even if you have like a book published and the articles and everything. And then I looked at the sender and it was like Michael Griffiths 2136 at gmail.com. And then I Googled it and it's like a scam, obviously, for you to get you to log in, get your password, and then take over your account. And what's interesting is the 12th house is where we find hidden enemies, and the 3rd house is where we find communication. And so a very interesting manifestation of a moon Mercury square in my personal chart. And then also just a reminder of these scams online. And if you are someone with a big following and you get an email from Instagram saying, oh, we want to verify your account, just log in here and we'll make sure we can get that blue check mark for you as soon as possible. Be careful. And I also got an email from another client saying that she was entered into a contest to try and get a free reading from a different someone on Instagram and then ended up being a scam. So just another reminder to use discretion when online and in life. But that was, again, just the astrology always works. And that's also a thing with astrologers too. You can look ahead and be like, oh, this is maybe a tricky transit. I'm going to try and brace for it. But then in my mind, it can kind of be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think that something bad or challenging is going to happen, then it's obviously going to manifest. I kind of like to just go about thinking that everything is working in my favor. And then when of those things come along, it can just be a good exercise and knowledge to pass along, like this example was. So hopefully you found that little anecdote useful. Sometimes when we find 12th house transits or things in our 12th house being activated, it can just manifest in us having to be aware of certain things that are trying to catch our attention. So for those of you with 12th house planets or placements, that's just something to note in general. Okay, so we are starting on Monday, July 18th, 9 a.m. So I will say at the start of the week, Monday and Tuesday, if you've been wanting to start something, initiate something, especially around like health and fitness, but anything in general, that would be a really good time to do so. On Monday, we have the moon in Aries conjunct Jupiter, and we have that square with Venus in Cancer. And on Monday, we also have Venus ingressing into Cancer as well. So with this, with Venus now being in Cancer for the next 3.5 weeks or so, it will be an emphasis on those maybe more domestic or relationship or health-based aspect. Cancer rules the stomach and the breast. So it can also be a thing in terms of nurturing yourself or wanting to nurture or protect something that you really care for. So oftentimes when we have this Venus activated in the sign of Cancer, I also want to say intuition, those kind of connections with other people where they want to deepen a relationship or a connection. This can be very powerful. And on Monday, we still have Mercury in Cancer. So you might just feel on Monday, there is a flood of energy in one part of your life, or specifically look at the house that is ruled by Cancer so that you can see, okay, now with Venus here, it's going to be evident that this prominent energy is going to persist for the next couple of weeks, which is great. Also, too, we have the sun making a trine to Neptune on Monday. So in terms of making sure that we take some time for our spiritual practice, this would be a great day for manifestation, especially with this moon Jupiter aspect and even the moon squaring Venus. I'm not mad at that. It just can be a lot of things that we want to do or a lot of love that we want to share. So just being aware of that. And this energy also kind of comes up a little bit later on in the week of just having a lot of love or wanting a lot of love in return for ourselves. So just know where you want to channel that energy, that love, and that time. And like I said, I think for some people, initiating something around physical health, nutrition, fitness would be a really good idea. Okay. Tuesday is a great day because Mercury then ingresses into Leo. So with this, it's going to be a really nice boost for all fire dominant individuals because at the end of the week, like I said, we have Leo season. So I want you to note again, if you want to initiate anything, especially around business, whether it be promoting, marketing, emails, stocks, whatever that may be, because Mercury is where you really look to for commerce, right? We think of Hermes, the communicator, going back and forth. And Mercury is making that trine to Jupiter. And we still have the moon in Aries here as well. So this can be something that you're excited about. It could be something you want to buy or something you want to invest into that is making you really happy, or that is going to take you to the next level, or that you're talking to network or to bring in more opportunity. Or this could also be a day, like let's say you're an artist and you wanted to apply to submit your work for a showing, or you want to look for an agent, right? We're talking about Leo. So there is that talent or that star power or wanting to be heard. This could also be if you want to get like a speaking engagement on a professional level, or want to speak up and maybe get a raise or pitch something to a superior. This would also be a great time. Like again, Monday, Tuesday, great for initiating or getting something started. And that's all I have to say about that. Mercury trine Jupiter is just a really nice energy, and we're going to be feeling that all week. And then again, it's going to be amplified on Saturday. So if you've been wanting to make more money, build more money, get those greater connections, please take advantage of this, especially if you have dominant fire energy in your chart. And even for more specificity around this, where you can use your voice or look to in work or business, look in your own chart which houses are ruled by Aries and Leo, so you can start building on that. Okay. One thing I want to end off Tuesday with is we have this sun opposing Pluto dynamic, and that's going to cross over onto Wednesday, which is going to get amplified with the moon in Aries. But just to talk about this a little bit, right? So sun and Pluto, identity and power struggles, identity. There could be this energy of wanting to evolve or redefine your identity. There could also be like you're now going into a new position of power. And so it's going to be a bit of an ego death because you're used to playing at this level, whether it's in career or relationships or health. And now you're being called higher. And it can be a little bit of a shock, or maybe it's going to be a whole new identity or look or leadership or what rules you want to abide to, right? Something in regards to personal power could also be like how you want to be nurtured and how you want to receive love or how you want to give love. And that could also be what you've been taught or what you've been conditioned to believe. Maybe it's I've always has to put people first before I can ask for help, or I always have to be perfect, or I always have to do this. There could be a big paradigm shift that is coming. And I will say that Wednesday this week is definitely the most frictional day, just because now the moon is in those late degrees of Aries. It's making a square to both the sun and Pluto. So we have that T square. So if you find yourself changing or resisting change or confused, or maybe at a bit of a crossroads, look to where you want to go or what you truly want, right? If we're talking about Aries, it is I am the overall motto. So what identity do you want to claim? What is it that you want? And allow that to be the foundation, not like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. If you keep trying and you like keep hitting your head up against the wall again and again and again, and something isn't working, or you feel like you're not as powerful as you could be, really tune into what it is that you want. And then that may lead to a shift. And I also just hearing as I'm recording this, like around career and around identity in what you're doing or what you want to be known for, even legacy, there might be a really big pivot or shift here. And again, really where you want to see this power dynamic or power shift, look to the houses that are ruled by Cancer and Capricorn. That might help you because for some, it might be related to family, like home life versus career. For some, it might be in their finances. For some, it might be interpersonal relationships. So it's going to be different for everyone. But really, like I said, that moon in Aries, I would lean into what it is you truly want and not apologizing for that in whatever capacity it is and not worrying about hurting someone else's feelings. And also, too, lastly, it could just be something around parents or upbringing, right? If we're talking about Cancer and Capricorn, and then Aries kind of being like the baby of the zodiac, it's like maybe you are feeling a certain type of way because of the way that you were raised or lack thereof. And now you get to be your own parent to ensure that inner child is cared for. So it could be or feel like a lot on Wednesday. The good news is that when we get to Thursday, there's a lot of beautiful transits, especially for fertility. So if you've been trying to conceive a baby, or if you've wanted to create something or brainstorming new ideas on how you can attract certain energy, Thursday is a beautiful day to do so. Here's why. So we have this really powerful mutual reception between the moon in Taurus and Venus in Cancer. And remember, the moon is already exalted in Taurus, but Venus has its domicile in Taurus and the moon has its domicile in Cancer. So the fact that they're sextiling in a nice complementary aspect with one another is great. And this is kind of auspicious in a way because of its rarity. The next time the moon will be in Taurus next month in August, Venus will already be in Leo. So take advantage of this. Also, too, moon conjunct Mars in Taurus, there is definitely that energy, whether it's of wanting intimacy or wanting money or wanting food. It's kind of like, when you want something, you go to either a parent or your partner. It's like, I just really want Italian food tonight. It's like, okay, let's go and get Italian food. Like they want to support you in that endeavor. This is kind of the energy with the moon here in a really strong position with Mars. Like if you've been wanting something so bad and you've been working so hard, it's like the moon's influence might just be someone of power, maybe even a feminine energy of like, okay, this is what you've been working really hard for. This is what you really want. Let's help make this happen. And it could also be a correspondence that you had earlier on in the week with that moon Jupiter aspect of maybe putting yourself out there, wanting to connect. And now it's like, okay, let's make this happen. I want to work with you to ensure that you are happy. And of course, if we're talking about Taurus, we're talking about wealth and security and food and fashion. So for me, this is a really nice energy of a little bit of pleasure or finance or just something that you really want coming into fruition. Okay. There is this moon square Mercury. So this can also be a way of don't just keep doing things the same way. Or if you keep trying to do something or approach something in a similar fashion, it's not working, try switching it up, seeing if you can approach something from a different vantage point. You can also see here that we don't have a lot of mutable energy right now. We just have Neptune in Pisces. So with that, I think there could be some innovation, some creativity of your own mutable energy that you can bring to the forefront to activate some new patterns or new fixed energy that you can implement from this point forward. Okay. Okay, so when we get to Friday, this is interesting because again, we have Mars, Uranus, and the moon all in Taurus, but now the moon is conjunct the north node. Of course, that means it's opposing the south node. There might be something that you just want to let go of or release to get what it is you've always wanted. This is kind of a buildup on Thursday, right? When the moon was conjunct Mars, and just naturally to the house in which Taurus rules in your chart is obviously a point that we want to be looking at because of the eclipses and the north node here. But now with Mars's presence and the moon being here Thursday, Friday, it's probably going to be very obvious what it is you have been wanting or wanting to focus your energy on. So I want you to really pay attention to that as well on Friday to see what's coming to the surface. A lot of days this week it seems like there's a lot of clarity or a lot of insight or a lot of activation that's going to be happening in a good way. It's kind of just like all the work that you have been doing or everything you've been wanting. It's going to be very obvious if you can just sit back and watch it unfold. And with this moon conjunct north node, there might just be an energy where it's like, this feels good. This is what I want to be working towards. And it can also be, I think, energy manifesting, because we have the sun in the 29th degree, in that critical degree, or in that arenetic degree. So I think there's going to be a climax of energy no matter what, given it's the last day of Cancer season. And the moon makes a sextile to the sun, and the moon is also making a sextile to Neptune, which is why I think there's just going to be an event or something very clearly presented, which will allow all the pieces to fall together, or allow lessons to be learned, or just affirmation in the path that you have chosen. And even going back to that Tuesday, Wednesday with the sun opposing Pluto, that's going to be finishing up tomorrow as well. So this either shift in identity or power or how you want to pursue life, I think it's going to be like, this door is now open. You can now cross through it. And as we do so, we are now going to be in Leo season. So Saturday marks the beginning of Leo season. Happy birthday to all my beautiful, fabulous Leos watching. And again, we talked about how earlier in the week when Mercury ingressed into Leo, we had that trine, and we can see now today this exact trine at 8 degrees with Mercury and Jupiter. And now the sun is here as well. So this could be a big payout. This could be opportunity. This could be good news coming into fruition. And naturally, I would want you to look at the house ruled by Leo, because this is going to be a very auspicious time where lots of energy could be coming in. And again, Saturday would also be a good day to start something or initiate something. So if you've been trying to get something off the ground or wanting to pursue something, pay attention to what's coming through on Saturday, because again, the moon being in Gemini on Saturday, it's making sextiles to Jupiter and the sun and Mercury. So with the moon and Jupiter, you're probably going to want to talk and connect and put yourself out there and see what's going on. A good social day as well. If there's any kind of parties or events that you're invited to, please say yes, even if you're maybe one to stay inside. I would say that this is a good time to go out, shake some hands, kiss some babies type vibe. And it just seems like right place, right time, and an opportunity to be seen, right? With the sun in Leo, I think just for everyone during Leo season, it allows them to be more comfortable in front of the camera, or to be seen, be loved, be appreciated, have their talents be appreciated by all. So allow yourself to be seen, maybe even challenging yourself as well to go outside of your comfort zone, and whatever that is for you, just because we do have such benefic energy coming through. And when we get to Sunday, we do have Venus making that trine. Pardon me. Venus is making a square with Jupiter, and then the moon is making a trine to Saturn. So this could just be a lot of love, or maybe you just love someone or something so much and you just want to concentrate it all in one place. And you might be the recipient of a lot of love from someone. It could be a family member or a lover or a friend. You're like, whoa, this is a lot. And maybe not in a bad way, but it's just like so much love, so much happiness that you just want to give. I also think that Leo, if you've ever been with like a Leo friend or a lover, it's like, if they love you, they love you. Like they just want to be around you all the time. They want to show you how much they care. They want to do things with you. And so that energy combined with Venus square Jupiter, it could just be a lot for maybe some that are not used to that type of energy, or maybe are just uncomfortable with that. I am hopeful just because the moon is making a trine to Saturn. So it's like, people are going to be open to boundaries, or if it is too much, you can safely say it's like, I'm a little bit overwhelmed, or it could just be a plethora of options or an opportunity that just has multiple avenues. So giving yourself boundaries to be a good disciple of your time. So it's like, I have all these different events. I wanted this new opportunity, and now it's this, and that, and that. I need to make sure that I'm responsible with my energy and my time so I can take advantage of this cornucopia of blessings. So it could manifest in a couple different ways. Either way, when we have a good aspect of Jupiter, I just think it's always a good thing personally. And with Jupiter and Aries, it can be a lot of things happening fast, because remember that both Cancer and Aries are cardinal signs. So it's initiating, it's something new. It's wanting to begin something. So I just think kind of the theme all week has been initiation, new starts, and realizing what we've been fighting for, or these opportunities being presented with all the work that we've done up until this point. So lots to be excited about. So these kind of one of these magical weeks in astrology where there really is nothing in our way. You can't blame the astrology. There's nothing really turbulent happening. I will say that Tuesday, Wednesday with the sun opposing Pluto, it could just be a power dynamic or something you have to overcome to get to that fresh start, or to really firmly give yourself permission to pursue what makes you happy and not be concerned with other people. It could obviously be a family thing as well, with Cancer and Capricorn being activated with that sun and Pluto. So long as you have those firm boundaries and know what it is that you desire, you'll be good to go. Okay. Fabulous. So for the astrology question of the week, last week we were talking about cusps and different energy and how we can discern between if it's one sign or another. And I had someone message me and they gave me permission to show their chart. So I just want to show this as our question. So this individual asks, my moon is at 29 degrees and 58 minutes, and they have had different readings with multiple astrologers in which they all said that they would classify this as a Virgo moon. And so for me, I see this at 29 degrees, 58 minutes. So if the birth time is accurate, I personally would still classify this as a Leo moon. We can see here that the client was using Placidus because they're not whole sign houses. So for me, maybe those other astrologers saw the moon was in the second house, and the second house only fits a little bit of Leo and Virgo. So maybe that's why they saw. A lot of times when we're doing rectification techniques, if it is so close to the next sign, sometimes the astrologers will say it could be in this sign or that sign. But if you have a placement or a planet at 29 degrees, it is a very auspicious energy, because in terms of degree theory, when you have something at 29 degrees, it's called the critical degree or the arenetic degree. So we saw that when I was talking about the 29th degree of Cancer on Friday in terms of a buildup or a climax of energy. When we have it natally, it's meant to be a mastery degree, where if we're talking about evolutionary astrology, there's one field of scope that says when it's at 29 degrees, it's like your soul wants to master that. And sometimes it can be challenging, or your soul is not going to rest until it really reaches a point of culmination, or that it can feel that it's satisfied that placement in that house. So for this client, having the moon at 29 degrees of Leo, that could be a really beautiful energy in terms of really loving their body, or really having a beautiful connection with their mother. Or maybe their mother had a really strong upbringing in cultivating a talent, and maybe that was turbulent before because maybe the parent was maybe demanding or really pushed the child hard, but it got them to the point where they were able to utilize that talent beautifully. Or many other manifestations. But I wouldn't just tell a client, it's like, oh yeah, it's probably a Virgo moon, because that would be misleading. And a lot of times too, I've heard this from other clients where they'll come to me for a reading and they're like, oh, well, this astrologer said this, and now you're saying that. And this is just another reminder that with anything in life, you want to make sure that you do your due diligence and research that specialist to ensure you're getting the most value for your time and money. That would be like going to someone who's studying holistic nutrition and they diagnose you and completely change your dietary plan, versus going to a professional holistic nutritionist who has been practicing for over a decade. It's not saying that the student couldn't give a very viable plan, but if you're going to make drastic changes, it'd probably be best to go and get a second opinion. Just like other people have a knowledge of astrology, or they might have been practicing astrology for a year. But it did give me pause when this individual said that multiple astrologers said that they were a Virgo moon, even though their birth time was accurate. And when I questioned the client and asked why the astrologers said that, their response was the astrologers just gave a vague response and didn't really clarify why they were so confident in saying it was a Virgo moon. So I thought this was just a really good question as a follow-up to last week's question about cusp and degrees and how this can all work and how we can classify this, because it is important, especially if you're starting to learn your chart. And with regards to degree theory and angles or planets being on the 29th degree, it can be a point of, oh yes, this is something really important to note because this planet in this house and in this sign is really something that I can pay attention to in order for me to gain greater comprehension, or for me to just make sure that planet is nurtured as it's going through these different evolutions of mastery along the way. Okay, so let me know how that all resonates. Also, at one point, I was like, oh, I don't have a lot of questions. I'm going to need to maybe reach out again. And then last week's video, there was like 8 questions that were all amazing. So I keep track of them all. Jupiter and Virgo. So I will get through all the questions in due time. But if you do have any other general questions, please leave them below in the comments and I'll get back to them as soon as I can in these videos. And if there are enough, I might just do a video where I answer commonly asked questions and then have that as its own video outside of the week ahead. So we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, let me know how this forecast sounds for you. Any retrospective manifestations from last week's forecast, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you got any other random Instagram queries about wanting to verify your account like I did. And have a beautiful week. Have a phenomenal start to Leo season. Enjoy the rest of Cancer season, especially that Venus and Cancer transit. And I will see you next week. Bye for now.